Hey all. Let me know in the chat please how the sound is. Hey all. Let me know in the chat please how the sound is. Hey all. Okay, looks like you guys are here. So I haven't actually looked at the charts today, I just opened the charts. So we'll be looking at this together. Of course, you guys feel free to ask. Ingmar, you are obviously free to tell us your analysis as well, if you wish. I wish I could just tune you in so you could speak. It would be much easier. Could do this together. It would be fun. Maybe we can do it next time if I can set it up. So we can do a multi-cast. So I'm just waiting for guys to join. Hey Chris. Okay, so let's actually start. I think there are a few people here already, so guys, if you're in our Skype group, you can still use the chat on YouTube, please, because I'm monitoring. There is a slight delay, so if you ask something, I might have already started answering that, so it's like a few second delay here, so just so you know that. So let's start with EURUSD, one of my favorites. Let me clean it up a little bit. Actually, this was one of the targets we discussed. If you've seen the previous videos, I had this forecast was when I was talking, already when EURUSD was somewhere here. It was probably a while ago. Because it's the monthly charts, but it was somewhere here, so we discussed these targets that it could go all the way up. So right now we can see it's getting resistance at this area, at this large drop here, lots of volume for sellers, and the support that previous resistance holding, so it's still in between here, so it has to make a decision, either falling back or bouncing back up, breaking this area, reaching this target. So these are actually good targets. So we can look. We can keep going down the time frames. We can look and we can see here the current candle where it's resting pretty much at the previous sell-off here. You can see it was bouncing here and then boom. So right now it's holding this area. Now either the same thing could happen again. We got one red candle and then the drop, boom, boom, or this time it's actually going to hold, because this time it's already broke it once, so from below. Now let's remove some of these lines, because these are upper targets. We don't need to focus too much on them, so we want to keep clean. We can see here, if we try to add these two areas, it would project the next setup, the next support somewhere in this area. So if price would fall, it could bounce here again. So why am I doing this? Is because this way you can actually break down the charts step by step. It becomes easier, because I know, especially as a beginner, if you're a beginner and you see, okay, this line broke, so where is USD going? Is it going like down here? And you can't, I mean, it's really hard to do forecast for this many pips, this huge period. So it's better to break it down step by step, knowing that, okay, if this breaks, it's possible that it bounces here, or at least stops here, at least that there is a support here. Of course, it might as well just break through, go all the way down, but this is a good way to know that if you're trading, especially long term, okay, it broke, so I'm trading, but I'm not gonna short it when it's here, because it could bounce back here from here and then get up, and it's fully possible. So I'm not gonna need this right now because support is holding. So as always, as I tell everyone, we wanna not clutter too much the chart. So we move down until we find a good setup, especially for lower time frames. So we move down step by step and then see what currently we can look at that we could be trading today. Sometimes you do this, you don't find anything, but most often you find something that you can keep an eye on. So here we're on the daily. This is actually a good bounce here. Now we can see that the support line, not only we have the support line as confirmation for this area, we have the trend line also. So these two are holding. So the trend, the bullish trend, is still holding. So this could be just a retracement from this resistance here. So next price could continue. So that's possible. So let's move down. Now we can remove this daily trend line. We don't actually need it right now, unless price would be up here, maybe retracing back, then we could use it again. But right now we don't need this because we have the support here already from the weekly chart. So like I said before, we don't need to clutter too much. We have a good line, use it, don't clutter. So let's move down again. Now this is very interesting. We have a downtrend on the 4-hour chart. So we try to connect the tops here. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, and then it went sideways. So this was not the best market, really sideways here and then up here again. And then we can see our line is not really good here, the support on the lower time frame. You can see that it went all the way down here, like these previous candles. And it happens to intercept this moving average 200. So that's one of my favorite moving averages, exponential. So why is this interesting? Because if we want, first of all, we can observe a pattern here. Let's see if I find it. Shapes, rectangle. If we look at this area here, this was also pretty sideways, right? This was sideways. And then we got the breakout. Now if we look at this area also, sideways, breakout, continuation, sideways again between this area, there, much better. So could this repeat itself, this pattern? Patterns are very important. We get pattern repetition, it becomes easier to be able to tell, predict the next, for example, expiry if you're doing, or even if it's Forex, if you want to know where exactly, how long it could take, how many pips, using patterns is very good. So we can see we had a sideways trend and then a breakout, bullish breakout, right? And we said on the daily we're still bullish. Now as you can see, trend is a relative thing. On 4-hour we have a downtrend, and I wouldn't be calling EURUSD unless this area is broken, because why should I call it now? Maybe it comes back down here and then goes up again, down, up. So I want preferably not only this trend line to break, I want this level to break, because we don't need to be fooled, because we already have this pattern here. We already see this went sideways before it broke up. Also made a fake drop here and then bounced back. So that's why it's good to wait for, not on, because this could go sideways like I said and then break the trend line, but still keep going sideways. This is why I want preferably also this area to break. I want a bullish candle like here above this, at least on the 4 hour, boom, and then I can trade it. Okay, so this is a setup. So if you guys trading this week, now I can't say when this is gonna happen. It could happen in the next 8 hours, it could happen tomorrow, could happen during the week. I can't say that. Unfortunately, I can't predict the future. I can only tell you that if we get a 4 hour candle here, that's a good sign for a long-term trade. And the next target would be, I would say, probably here, because we have a large drop here, so there's some sellers here, and also you can see that the bounce from this area. So I would trade from here to here. If it's Forex, and I would trade from here, and then I would sell, wait. If it's broken, I could trade again. If it's binary, you can see your expiry by using the patterns approximately. Of course, there could be more trades on the lower time frame, so we're going to keep going down. But this is worth to keep an eye on for later. So let's keep this. I'm going to remove this line. I'm also going to remove this line because we are too far away. You see, we're so far away from this area. It's useless to have it right now. Just clutter on your charts. So the less you have to look at, the more focus you can put on the patterns instead. So less indicators, less lines, but the good ones. Keep the good ones. So here we have already this area to focus on. We want to break up, we want to break here. Because of the daily pattern, like I said, is bullish still, because remember, the trend is still bullish unless we get something to close below that. So far so good, guys, right? I know I'm talking a little bit fast, but I want to get a lot of things done in this webinar. So if you have a question, just leave it in the chat. I'm looking now and then. So now when I've done this, I know I have this setup to look forward to for later. I know that if this breaks, okay, I could have a potential trade here. So now I can just leave it alone. I don't have to be stressful about it, because right now it's not doing anything. It's not even going up. So it could be going back down and up. So leave it for now. Let's go to the hourly, see what we can find here. On the hourly, we can see, like I said, it's still sideways, to sideways. Here you could adjust your lines a little bit. The trend line is pretty good. This line, however, you can see we need to get it a little bit higher, because on the hourly we can see it's not completely covering those candles. Here is covering, so we want some candle to close up here, and then boom, here we have the next target. So what do we do with this? So far we can see kind of have a channel here. I'm going to remove this white box. Anyone who wants to watch this later, you can rewatch the video because it's automatically recorded. It will be on the channel. I think it takes like 15-10 minutes before it's on the channel, so you can watch the line. So I will remove this so we can see clearly here. We'll redraw this for now. You can see here price is dropping. So as you can see, the more you zoom in to the time frames, the more setups you find. So here we see price is still channeling down. So let's move to the 30-minute time frame. Here we have approximately, you can see here, boom, boom, still declining. But it also did so before, and then it broke up. You can see it here, it got down, broke up, down, broke up. So we move down again. Here doesn't look as good, so we adjust the line a little bit. So it could go all the way down here, where we have also a support. Could be dropping all the way down here. So right now, unfortunately, it looks like we missed a couple of opportunities here on the 15-minute time frame. You can see a one break you had here. So this one could have been hard to see because the first, but this one here is like a pattern repetition, right? You guys see this? Look at the candles, 1, 2, 3 red candles here, 1, 2, 3. So a pattern repetition here. So these ones are very good, especially for binary options, or if you're doing Nadex or even Forex, because then you would know after 3 candles here you could see a retracement where you would exit and then take a new trade and then sell again. You can see that here, right? you get the same patterns here. So after seeing this one, so you would probably miss the first one, but then the second one, boom, when it happened again, you would know, okay, maybe I take a 30-minute put option because last time this candle broke below this trend line, boom, you got a 30-minute, and then it bounced back up again. And then you can see this is a perfect example of pattern repetition, almost identical. You got three candles here, one that finished below, this is a 15-minute time frame, so, and then you got two additional red candles like here, and then the retracement, boom, two candles, perfect example, this one. So I love these patterns to trade on binary especially, but also FX, but it works on pretty much any type of trading. So what to do right now? Again, we could expect a bounce here. This candle is very strong, so you can't be short, but since this is the downtrend, I would prefer not to take a call option, especially on this giant red candle dropping like this. I don't want to take the risk. I'd rather go with the trend. So in this case, this one would have been a nice one. Obviously, every trade you take is a risk, so I would have rather taken this risk, the pattern repetition here. So as you can see, we zoomed out. When we learned things, as we zoomed out, we find new setups to trade. But this is a good example. These things repeat, so don't be sorry that we missed this. These things repeat on a daily basis on pretty much all assets. So you just have to look for them, and the more you get used to it, the more such things you will find. So let's remove those. Let me keep this for now, and then we move down to the 5-minute time frame. Here, pretty much the same thing. I think it was clearer. The breakout was much more clear, and the expiry for this, but you can also see it on the 5-minute time frame. You can actually see it. You got one here on the 5-minute. You got one here, a break. This one was shorter, but like I said, on the 15-minute it looked better. It's a little bit noisy on the 5-minute charts. As you can see, it touched the trend line we drew. Remember, it bounced a little bit. Now could it break? Obviously it could. Also pay attention that the trend line is pretty much intercepting the previous support here. Look at that. Boom, bounce, buyers coming in. So these are very nice. This is what price action means pretty much. We look back, we see the bullish bounces here. And look, it's no coincidence that price comes exactly here and bounces. So as you can see, this is why price action is so important. No indicator could have told you this, because for example, if you're using an oscillator, it could tell you it's oversold. It could be oversold here, it could be oversold here, it could be oversold here, but it's the trend line that tells you where the target is, where it could break, where it could turn. And as we can see, it's getting the support here. Now, could it break later? Yes. Could it bounce back up again? Of course. So that's what we have analyzed here. That's the technical analysis for the EURUSD. So for me, I would keep an eye on this. I would actually do this. I put the line here, put the line here on top. Based on the hourly, I would do that on the highest candle here. And then, so I would keep an eye. I would wait for a breakout. That would be nice. Bearish breakout, I'm not entirely sure. I would rather wait for in that case I would wait for a daily candle to close below this trend line, below the support. You can see it did here below this support here, but still it bounced back. So because price is still bullish, this is why I don't like to go against the trend. So I would just keep that and wait for it on the 4 hours. See if we get a breakout, we can trade. And of course keep an eye on the 15-minute, 30-minute. You might find more opportunities like the one I showed you with the breakout, because it could do that the same thing again, could go sideways again, and then boom, another breakout. So you might have another trade here today or later. So that's your USD. We could look at something else. How about USDJPY, which most of the time is in correlation with EURUSD. Most of the time is negative correlation, but it could be neutral, it could be positive as well. So we can see here on the USDJPY, it's been unable to break this trend here for a bullish USDJPY, for a very strong USDJPY. A bullish trend, you would want this level to finally be able to get broken, but still holding. You can see immediately if you look to the left here. Also, we have a lot of areas here. We have one strong area here for the support resistance. We have another one here in this level. So a lot of thanks. So there is a bank holiday for Japan, and we should be able to see this actually, even without knowing. We could see this actually on the charts. If you look at it on the lower time frames, what do you see immediately? You see that price is barely moving. You look at this tight range, so you could immediately see that something is not correct. The volatility is very low. So but we can still look at the long term for this. So today, if it's bank holiday, like we saw on the lower time frame, price not doing much, so then we should leave it alone. But for the long term, you might want to keep an eye on this. And for the lower area, we can see we got the latest bounce was here. It came in a little bit earlier than the last time, which was here, but still all this region is a big support. So I would rather draw a rectangle here to show that this area is support. And interestingly, like always, the EMA, pretty faithful, shows up to intercept this area to tell us that there is something in this area, and we can see there is a potential support area here if it keeps falling. Also pay attention here, you can see no candle managed to close below this area here. We go from top of this and then we put it so that it's at the close or opening of each candlestick. Oh, hello everyone. We can see that it's not no candle closed. So if it does close, it could mean continuation, like drop towards the support. So these are the things I would keep an eye on for, at least for the long term. So short term, let's not look at those candles since it's a holiday. So let's look at something else. CAD, we can take a look at this. So let's start with a monthly. Again, let me clean the charts. It's a good habit to do so. So on the monthly, as you can see, since a while back, this is also one of the forecasts we did a long time ago, several months ago. We said that if this area breaks, price will fall, and you can see that it has, and so far it's still bearish. On the monthly, however, we can see USDCAD is making some comeback, but it could just be a retracement. So here, what do we see? The support is still holding. So let's go down to the weekly charts. What do we got here? We got this area resistance still holding. So we just do like what we did with the EURUSD. We just move down until we find something that's good that we should keep an eye on for trading. So it's not strange that the CAD is still stopping here because of this support here, support resistance. There was some news last week when price got pushed up, and then the selling started pushed down this candle. So I think some of you traded that actually, I remember from the group. So if we look here, these are one of those cases a little bit dangerous here. You see, you could have seen this as a trend line here, boom, drop, retracement, and then you would expect price to continue, and it did come down, but then it bounced back again. So let's move down to the hourly. Here we can see this pretty clearly, all these sideways the sideways trend here, and currently it looks like it's going back in, but the hourly is not closed yet, so anything could happen. It could close up there, it could close below, and the 4 hour is obviously not closed yet either. So we move down, the 30 minute is closed above the trend line. Place it a little bit higher up, and we can see this one is just closed below. And if we do a support resistance line, sometimes I like to do an extra support resistance line together with the trend line just to be sure, and you can see that when you do this, you see it's not actually closed above the trend line. So there seems to be a pivot here. A pivot means an average price, so average price has been around this area for some time, so this is a retracement. So right now we can't tell really, because look at this. What would you say? Would you say this is a breakout, or it's still deciding? I would say still deciding. I would want to wait and see at least where the hourly closes, or rather even the 4 hour where it closes. Is it going to hold, get pushed back, and then continue, or is it going to actually cross the pivot, close up? So that's something you should keep an eye on. Also, you can see some patterns from before. You can see here, if we would draw a trend line here, so you can see going down, breaking up. Here you could see going down, breaking up. So those are good to keep an eye on. So I'm going to actually remove this trend line. Right now we have the support resistance line. So let's move down. 15-minute time frame, looking very bullish still. Look at the struggle here. This was the news pushing the price here, and then boom, dropped down below, and then came back up. So this is why I call it the pivot. Average price seems to be around this area. So again, I don't want to be fooled by this. This might as well drop again. So it's worth to keep an eye on this, see what's happening, if it's actually going to break up or not. But sometimes your trend lines can be drawn like this based on the upper limit. If you didn't know this already, you don't have to draw all your trend lines like this. Here you can see another breakout. So you see when you move down here in the 5 minute, you had a bullish breakout. But you can also draw your trend lines when price is going up like this. You can draw it here based on the highs, and then wait for a breakout here. So not only did break the trend line here, but also broke the previous resistance here, which was support before. Boom, boom, breakout, and then it reached the previous target here. So so this one, I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm also going to put a line here because it seems to be resistance, support, and this one is holding. And on the lower time frame, we saw that the average price seems to be around this area here, so I'm going to leave that. What about the kiwi? So we'll also look at this, the last one. So this one also looks a little bit like the cat. These are normally in negative correlation as well. So again, we can observe an uptrend. It used to be here in this area, approximately here. It was going up, again got down. You see, this is like the CAD. When it got down below the trend line, it bounced back up again, and here it's down. Boom, now we got the retracement. So let's keep going down and look at this. Again, we have another sideways trend here. Obviously we don't need this line here, we don't need the lower line because it's too far away, right? Price is still up there. And we can continue moving down. Next, daily. What do we have here? So we had some bounces in this area. It used to be support, resistance here. What happened? Price went under, it went to this area, bounced back up, so it moved down. We can now remove the upper one, the 744. We don't need that. Gone. Okay, so here we can see the trend is still bearish, and here it's been going up. Can we see another thing, another similar one? Yes, it's pretty similar here as well. Boom, going up. This one is a little bit sharp move. Maybe it looks better on the lower time frame. Yeah, it does. It does look much better. Here we can see one bounce, 2, 3, became resistance and fell. Let's zoom out a little bit. Here you can also see. So as you can see, it's not a strict time frame that tells you which is better. Look, if you look at it on the 4 hour, this actually looks good. If you look on the hourly, you see how the dip here, it doesn't look really good. So this one on the 4 hour looks good. This one does not look good, but it does look good on the hourly. So you see, it's just the perspective. You change your perspective, find something. So this one looks nicer. What about this one? We put it here. We could actually put it here, and we see that we are already getting a breakout. If you look at on the 4 hour, however, we could see that still I'm not quite satisfied with that, because look, the EMA is still holding the previous resistance, which was support here, still not broken. So we want a break below this for a continuation trade like these, okay? So this could be a potential trade to trade it down. Also pay attention the correlation, like I said, bullish, bearish. So it's not unlikely that the Kiwi will break, in which case we could short it just like before. You can see, so you can get a hint on the expiry. Of course, when the break comes, you could also do shorter expiries on lower time frames. You could find more patterns. So let's actually check that out. You can see here, boom, bounce, another fall here, support becoming resistance. So if we move down the time frame, just so I can show you the same breakout, but from the previous ones, you can see it continued down, made a retracement, dropped, made a retracement, dropped. So as you can see, you could have also traded this on the lower time frame instead of just taking one big put option or shorted on Forex. So yes, you can, like I said, do this on FX and do this on CFD style or binary options, even Nadex, it does work. So keep an eye on this, but also keep an eye on the correlation. Are we getting a bullish breakout here and a bearish breakout? That's good. We also have the EMA 200, so if a 4 hour candle closes here below, just like the previous history, 4 hour candle closed, preferably this one even. This one that was a doji here, boom, and then you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. How about this one here, boom. This one was pretty large, but still 1, 2, at least 2, 3 before it started retracing back up. So this is what we're waiting for, a break down here, below the EMA, below the support, below the trend line. So we got triple securities here. We got the trend line, the EMA, the support line, which actually goes far back. You can see it goes all the way back to, when is this? January. So it's a good area to keep an eye on for a bearish put option. So that's pretty much it. I think that gave you guys an idea on how to do your own analysis. Now you can do this the same, so just pick up a chart, an asset, and do the same thing. Start with the monthly, like here we got the Aussie. Immediately you see price is in a channel. Okay, so what is it doing? It's going down. So monthly is bearish, so let's move down to the weekly. What patterns do we see here? We see these tops have become support, right? You can see that immediately. Once your eyes get used to it, you can do this within a few minutes. You'll get done. Now I've been doing this slowly. That's why we've been doing this for over 30 minutes, but if you get fast, you can do this within minutes. Boom, boom, you will see it immediately. So we got the support resistance, boom, price dropped. Here what happened last time, we got one bullish candle and it dropped, but this time will it go up or down? Okay, so what we know is that we got the support. Boom, you go down daily, where you see you got the daily bounce. So right now it's stupid to short it, right? Because the daily is still holding. So you keep doing this, you go to the lower time frames. What do we got here? We got these two tops, you connected. Looks like we got a breakout here, boom, bouncing. So currently still the bearish movement is not continuing. If you would want to short it, you would rather this area to break, right, before you're getting put options. So right now it's not, it's actually breaking up. So that's how you do it. Then you keep going down and then look for patterns, and you find patterns and you use them, or wait for them to repeat, and that's how you get better trades. So that's all. Thanks for watching. If you're not in the Skype group, feel free to join. I have the link in the video. If you go to video section, you will find the video about the Skype group. You can find all the links you need. So for the rest of you who are in the group, I see you back in the group. So thanks guys, and happy trading.